Your plan, by cutting the top rate to 20%, eliminating dividends, capital gains, interest income taxes, would provide a huge tax cut for wealthy people in this country. For those at the top, it is hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars for them.
But I don't care about that. What I care about is them having the dollars to invest in their companies, to go out and maybe start a business because they've got the confidence again that they actually get to keep more of what they work for.
This is Rick Perry talking about his tax plan. Joining us at the table this morning, I want to welcome Mort Zuckerman, the chairman and editor-in-chief of the U.S. News and World Report, also publisher of New York Daily News, a paper I grew up with here in New York and read every day on my way to school. So, Mort, thank you so much for being here.
I'm delighted to be here.
Well, we were just having a conversation here about inequality, and I think it's sort of the signature issue on the table right now because of Occupy Wall Street largely. And you saw Rick Perry's response to a question from John Harwood about his tax effects making inequality worse. From where you sit, do you think inequality is a problem?
Well, sure, it's a problem. The problem, however, is on both sides. I think the tax code is very counterproductive to where this economy should be going, and I think we have to find some way to, shall we say, redistribute the economic benefits of this society in a better way than we're doing now. In my judgment, the best way is, in fact, to reform the tax code, to eliminate all the special privileges, all the special benefits given to a lot of groups who don't deserve it, and simplifying and lowering all the tax levels for everybody, including for the business community. That was a core part of the Simpson-Bowles Commission and the Rivlin-Domenici Commission. Everybody knows that's the right thing to do, and we should do it, and we should do it soon. We keep it revenue neutral, but it'll be the most stimulative thing we can do for the economy, and we will equal out a lot of the income.
I could not agree more with you. Simplify. You can, if you do it properly, actually lower some of the marginal rates.
Right.
Here's the interesting thing, though. When Bowles-Simpson, not to get into the footnotes, Bowles-Simpson actually said tax capital gains and dividends the same way you tax ordinary income. What Rick Perry is saying is don't tax them at all, which is a fundamental...
I'm not trying to justify
No, I realize that. But I think this is sort of an ideological choice, and it'd be interesting to see what people thought the actual impact of what Rick Perry proposes would be, because I don't think it would actually stimulate more investment.
I don't know whether it probably would stimulate some investment, but that's not the issue. The issue is not just investment, it's also demand. Well, the demand side of the economy is critical, and if you lower taxes across the board for the consumers by eliminating all these special benefits, you have the chance for the single most... You know how many hours this country spends and how much money we spend just on preparing tax? It's absolutely astounding. 8 billion hours. It's just
we
astounding.
all agree simplification is absolutely where we need to go, and it's a demand crisis. I think that is the biggest of the debates going on right now.
But I want to get back to the central issue of, because there's two sides of this inequality coin, as we were talking about. There's the fact that our tax code isn't doing a very good job of mitigating the effects of inequality. But before we even get to taxes and transfers, right? The signature fact of the American political economy in the last 30 years is the fact that the 1% has seen this massive expansion of what percentage of the national income it captures.
That's right.
And how do you understand that phenomenon? What is going on there? Because I think that the way that Occupy Wall Street explains it is that the game is being rigged essentially by those folks.
I don't think the game is being rigged. I think what we've had a massive change in technology. Okay, that technology has made it possible for us to lose. This is bad news. 6 to 7 million blue-collar jobs in the first couple of decades of this century. I mean, this is really an enormously important thing. Since this administration has come into power, we have not created a single full-time employment job. We've lost millions and millions of jobs overseas. The second thing is that technology just has changed the way we do things, and so the people who understand and master the technology are going to end up doing better than the others.
So I think you can, and often people do blame globalization, technological change, the information age. Two important points to layer on to that, and I was actually proud that the CBO report did this. A, even with those trends, a functioning society that actually wanted to mitigate those forces would have done certain things. For example, not actually withdrawn so much support for higher education, would have joined the industrialized world in doing early childhood education and care. We've actually pulled back on what we would know would mitigate those trends. And then we also have had a major power shift in this country, a major power shift in our democracy, and a major power shift in terms of the role of organized labor in corporations.
Look, if you accept, you're exactly right. If you accept as a premise 2 billion additional people have joined the workforce in the world, driving down the competitive position of labor. As Mort points out, we have seen a technological leap forward that has made our workers more productive, and yet workers have not shared in the uptick as they've gotten more productive every year because of the overseas competition. So the question is then, how do you respond? You got to invest in them and somehow redraw the lines to give them some of the upside.
I think it's more than the 2 billion workers. I think a lot of it has to do with the financialization of the economy, and I want to talk about some of that and inequality with Mort Zuckerman, Elliot Spitzer, Heather McGhee, and Ta-Nehisi Coates right after this.